shows for free a week. But if you want to support the channel, there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast or video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications option. Hit the thanks button to buy a super sticker. You can do this on the live chat too. You can also join our Patreon page or buy us a coffee at the link in all of our video descriptions below. We are also looking for sponsors. If you want our latest advertising rates and how you can get involved, then email John at nufcmatterspodcast1892@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.
Hush now, city kids, gather round for urban myths. Hush now, city kids. When it came to me after so long, I didn't have no choices in the streets where I was from. When I think about the pain, I didn't have no choices. I took what I had sworn. Hush now, city kids, gather round for urban myths. Hush now, city kids. But you know, they wouldn't let you have it any other way. Stepping back from what you lack, the past just pulls you back in again. Save me from myself, it just carries on. Just carries on.
Good evening, welcome along to NUFC Matters, the fans forum, and all the chaps are here. Barry is hoping to do an hour and a half tonight. Will he be doing it on his own? But welcome to Alan, George, Barry, Pablo, Jeff, Tom, and Darren. Welcome to you at home. And no game this weekend, international break, of course, but we've always got something to talk about on here. And I thought, seeing as though the man of the moment, Sandro Tonali, is on everyone's lips, literally he gets man of the match every game and somebody else, I thought I'd ask the lads to start with tonight. Does Sandro Tonali make your dream team of all-time Newcastle United midfielders? A lot of us on this panel have already done our dream teams and made them and done videos on this channel about dream teams, and many of us have put, a vast array of midfielders in there. I mean, you can pick out the likes of Rob Lee, who was in a lot of people's teams. Gary Speed, of course, another one who springs to mind. But over the years, we've had some brilliant midfielders. But Sandro Tonali, for me, if I had to sit now and pick my dream team, I'm afraid Sandro Tonali would be in it. So I would have to take somebody out of my dream team. But I want to ask the lads, is that the same for them? So, George, we'll start with you. Sandro Tonali, is he good enough to make your dream team now, George?
If you'd asked me a year ago, I'd have said it was too soon. But after the season he's had and the season he's having now, most definitely. I mean, there's so much about him. He has it all. We talk about players that are box to box and all this sort of thing. He's box to box plus. I've never seen a midfielder that can put the yards in that he does without seeming to lose any energy at all. And I think I've said to you all on here that I love watching it when he's playing for Italy and listen to the Italian commentators talking about the Newcastle Machina. In other words, the Newcastle engine, Newcastle machine. And that's just what he's like. I mean, and there's so much else about his game. His ability to shepherd people, opponents, out of danger. He's quite often he gets the ball and he doesn't even seem to make a tackle. He just pushes them to one side and sort of corrals them until they give in and the ball's his. So there's lots about him which is great. He also has the ability to score goals, of course, which is a great asset for any midfielder. So he would be in my team, Steve. I think I can hardly remember a game in recent months when he hasn't been my man of the match as well. And he does so much, and he does it so easily, with great skill. Both feet. The superlatives about Tonali, I could go on for 24 hours easily. But as everybody wants to have their say, I'll move on and let Alan have his. But yes, he'd make my team, Steve, without a shadow of a doubt.
Okay, Alan, it's a good one. Lots of names getting mentioned. Dean says Tonali ahead of Speed and Lee, but shadowed by Pedro. Sandro makes Gary's now, he said. And somebody said, don't forget Mick Martin. Zico, of course. Graham Morton said, don't forget him. But yeah, what's your feelings? And does Tonali make it, Alan?
He's very close, Steve, isn't he?
He is, and I think the point is he missed that one. If he hadn't missed the season due to the betting scandal, we'd know now. But what a player he is!
He is. He's like a Duracell battery, and he non-stop. 89th minute, he's just like George said, keep going and going on. I mean, in my lifetime, Steve, I'm looking through the archives of my mind, and Jimpy Smith came to mind. Basically Gary Speed, and obviously Gascoigne, Beatty. I know Gascoigne gets overlooked, but Gascoigne was, even as a young kid, was fantastic. But as far as the engine's concerned, he's got to be up there. Give it to this season, Steve, and I think I will put him in my best ever midfield players. But I'm like George, I want him to be here for another 2 or 3 years, and then if he goes back to Italy, which we all think he will eventually, I'll leave the club. I want a good 2 or 3 years before I can say, yes, he's in the top 10 of all time, or top midfielders of all time. But he's on the verge, so I'm still on the fence, Steve, but he's virtually very close.
Okay, on the fence. That's one yes, one on the fence. Barry?
I mean, I go back to Christmas gone, and obviously the Newcastle players were going around the hospital where I work at the RVI, and I was over the moon because the 4 guys who came into the ward to visit the little ones who were on ours so we've got Dan Byrne, we've got Eddie, and Jason Tyndall came round, and they brought Sandro with them, and I got a chance to speak to Eddie and Jason, and then got obviously worshipping Big Dan. And then I got to spend a couple of minutes talking to Sandro, and just what an unbelievably down-to-earth guy. I mean, very little English to him, but just even then, Stevie seemed to get it. You know what I mean? He got what the club's about. He got the relationship with the fans and everything else, and just such a down-to-earth player. He was just unreal. And you saw, I mean, that was obviously not long after the ban and everything else, and that horrendous year he'd had. But the guy's just been unbelievable. He's how many times have we said, well, we might as well not look at man of the match for anybody else because it's Tonali. It's streets ahead of everybody else. I mean, the fact that he's put Bruno in the shade so many times, who prior to Tonali coming, Bruno would have been the standout midfielder. He's an unbelievable player. And I honestly think he'll just get better and better. I think the only worry we've got is if one of the big clubs comes sniffing at some stage and try and tempt him away. You like see Real Madrid or your PSG, but no, I think it's hard because I was doing what Alan did. I was looking back through thinking which players do I idolise, and you've got your likes of Liam O'Brien, you've got your likes of David McCreary, you've got your Batties, you've got your Rob Lees, and I was thinking, nah, he's way ahead of all of them. As much as I love them to bits, and they were the players who I grew up with. Tonali would walk. I agree with what was said before there. There's only Pedro who would be ahead of him. And I know Pedro's more of a sort of attacking striker player than a midfield player. But Gazza, unfortunately, I think would have been, but we didn't necessarily see the best of him at St. James's. Certainly when I was watching him, he went on to be better after he left us. So, yeah, he's easily the best midfielder, and I hope he's here for a long time to come.
Okay, Pablo.
I don't think there's any question to be had, really. I mean, all the boys have named players there. And I think what stands Tonali apart for me is, I mean, just to give some context, my ideal midfield would be as it stands, Tonali, Gascoigne, and Beardsley just in front of him. That would be my ideal midfield. Tonali would be the linchpin of that midfield. So yes, he does make it in my team 100%. And I think even when we're looking at players like Gascoigne or like Pedro, so Gaza, if you look at his discipline, if you look at some of his defensive, responsibilities, all these players have little chinks in their armour. But when I look at Tonali, I kind of think, well, where's the chink in his armour? Because he delivers performances every week. The guy's come from Italy, for God's sake, turned up on Tyne side and just automatically become an absolute machine of a man, machine of a player. Yes, the betting stuff would have swallowed up maybe other players, maybe would have swallowed him up, gone into his shell, gone back home, but he didn't. He kind of grasped it. He got on with it. He took his medicine. And every week, we say it, man of the match, man of the match, man of the match. And when you see him, and he's one of them guys, I've said it on here before, he never looks flustered, no matter how much the game is getting or how bad the game's getting or how tough. Tonali's one of them guys, you look at him and you think, it's all right, he's got it sorted. He'll get a grasp of it. He'll get the ball. He'll start, finding our rhythm again. We talk about, say, Bruno. Bruno comes in and out of games. Bruno is excellent one week and he'll drop off the next. But with Tonali, you get that constant 8 and 9 performance. So for me, you mentioned Gary Speed. Gary Speed it'd be a tough one with Gary Speed. But yeah, Tonali for me, mate, definitely makes it in. And I just hope that he's here for a long time as well, mate. And I think we mock Alan for using that word world class, and Darren gets on him for it. But I think the one world class player that I would pick in our team that I could drop in any top team in the world, your Real Madrid or your Barca, it would be Tonali. For me, it's a definite yes.
Okay, Jeff.
Yes, a definite yes for me. I commented last week, the week before, that Tonali was probably the best player I'd ever seen in St James's Park, which I would have to add that we didn't get to see players as much in the old days, unless you had a season ticket and inherited some sort of seat at St James's. You didn't get to see much football, so I never got to see Peter Beardsley play at his best, if you know what I mean, unless he happened to be on Match of the Day, etc., etc. So we didn't have the sort of access. We've got 24-hour access to football now, and we get to look at this stuff. We've got all sorts of electronic aids now. We can see it all. I've seen games reproduced electronically using, the technology that the clubs use. So yes, I think he's the best I've seen, with the proviso that we didn't get to see players as much in the old days.
Okay, good stuff. Nick Fail says, I would have had Peter Beardsley playing up front just behind a striker. Both Andy Cole and Gary Lineker loved him as their striking partner. Interesting stuff. Keep your comments coming in. Tom.
Yeah, well, my uncle, who really introduced me to NUFC way back in the 70s, he put Joe Harvey on a pedestal. I've heard George and Gibbo talk about Joe Harvey because he was not only a leader on the pitch, but he also brought home trophies. My uncle's favorite player was, I think, Tommy Cassidy. And he also talked about, Tony Green and that he would have been the best of all time. And then as you go through the 80s, you got, Gaza and Waddle and Beardsley. And you have all these players, but I've never seen a player in person or watching the old films that had the power, the speed, the skill, and the engine that Sandro Tonali has. To me, Gary Speed was a terrific player. Rob Lee was my hero. But I think that Tonali, even in the limited time that we've seen him, only really a couple seasons that we've seen him, is the real deal. And I think Pedro's smack on. He would fit into any starting lineup of any team in the world. That's the definition of world class. So I was thinking about this actually over the weekend, and yesterday morning I get up early and I wrote an article on Tonali that I was going to submit for the next fanzine. So I waxed lyrical in 808 words, I think, all about Sandro Tonali because I just think he's terrific. So yeah, I think he belongs there, and I think I don't know if he'd be my first choice. No, I'm going to take it back. He would be my first choice midfielder to start an NUFC side going forward. He'd be my first.
Good stuff. Okay, Darren.
I am like for the first time. I like David Batty. When he played for Newcastle, I'm a big David Batty fan. So he's not far off replacing David Batty in my eyes. So the shame he missed his first season with the betting situation. So he would have been. If he didn't miss it, I think he would have been there already. So he's literally like hit the post and it went in. You know what I mean? They replaced David Batty in my all-time Newcastle team. So he's not far off it, put it that way. And it paid to be said to Sandro Tonali and Peter Basie. It'll be some partnership in midfield, wouldn't it? So he's that's why he's almost there, but not quite.
Okay, good stuff. Keep your comments coming in on that. We'll have a half-term report now, George, because we've had a week off. It is half-term in the UK very soon. So where are Newcastle at this moment in time as far as you're concerned, George? I made the point, I guess, at the start of the international break by saying, you know, statistically, Newcastle are 7 points up the top of the Premier League, 3 points up the top of the Champions League and into the next round of the Carabao Cup. So, you know, for me, I think, yes, we haven't played to the best of our ability. Yes, we haven't scored enough goals, but we've kept, our back four's done very well. Our goalkeepers kept the scores down. We've had quite a few clean sheets this season already. So it's not all doom and gloom, despite the fact that we lost, one of our better players in the summer, and one of the players that we signed to replace him got injured in pre-season. So, yeah, I mean, for me, I'm not too despondent, and I'm always a great believer. You don't want to be leading the pack too early. So, for me, I'm quietly confident Newcastle will have a good, a good season this season, and I'm going to stick with my 5th place and Newcastle still winning a trophy this year, which I know some people think is mad, but I'm still, me and Stu Penman are still very confident that Newcastle will finish 5th this year. So, if you were writing a school report, George, what would it say? We could do better, or would it be something else?
Well, worked hard and recovered well, as far as I'm concerned. Let's face it, we've faced 2 of the top teams in the league for the last few years. At the start of the season, we had desperate luck against Liverpool and pushed them all away, even with 10 men. And then we had an incredible game against Arsenal again. We faltered towards the end of that match, but we weren't outplayed. We were still there with them. They're 2 of the reasons why we haven't got the points that we would like to have had. But since then, we've gradually picked up. We've overcome some of the injury problems we've had because we've got a much better squad, a much deeper squad than we've had. Some of the play by people who are inside now, Botman and Chow, for example, at centre-back, I think they're pushing to be the best pairing in the league and can only be good for us. We got slated by the antics of our former striker, and then we got all this rubbish from Germany about why did we pay so much as we did. Well, I think the lad Nick's shown why we paid as much as we did, because he's bloody good, and I'm quite optimistic still that content that we've been able to come back after a difficult start, hold our own against the best when we've needed to, and come good when we've needed to. I mean, the performance in Belgium against a Belgian team, although the Belgian champions, I've got to say, all that tells me is this how poor the Belgian league is, to be honest. But on the other hand, you can only beat 2 put in front of you, and that's what we've been doing. So, clean sheets, well, that's where the world starts, folks. If you can keep a clean sheet, you can't get beaten. And if that becomes a really good habit to have. And we seem to be doing it quite nicely and with some aplomb in many ways. And it is a bit, we've had another range of injuries that are peculiar to Newcastle in my mind. We will buy a striker who's never been injured, never, and he goes away and plays for his country and gets injured playing for them, and of course we're paying the consequences, which is, you know, that's Newcastle, isn't it? But if you're going to do anything good, you've got to overcome those sort of things, and I think we will. And I think the start of the shoots of helping to overcome that is that some of the background players for the last couple of years are starting to show shoots of green. Like Asula is starting to develop into something dangerous when he gets on occasionally, and others. And we, you know, I hear people grumble about Dan Burn at left back, but he's not done that much wrong, to be perfectly honest. Although he's not ideal. I think, for example, with Dan Burn, he's a good example of how being capped for your country can change your attitude. Dan Burn tries things now because of his international status that he would never try before. And I think that's about confidence. And I think even he's grown in confidence. So I'm happy that we've worked hard and we're getting better, and we'll see an improvement. And as to regards predictions, I don't alter my predictions at all. I still think we're sitting nicely to be easily in the top four and winning at least the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. Or hey, folks, the greedy little duck would like them both. How's about that? 2 cups. Wow, that would be something, wouldn't it?
What was it, just out of interest, George? What did you think about Stu's prediction we could win the Premier League next year?
I agree with him. If we can keep this squad together and do some more clever buying like we did this window. Remember the window we've just had? We were all of us, including me sometimes, saying, "Oh, we're in trouble. We haven't got this, we haven't got that, because the others have got this and the others have signed that." Well, look what's happened to the others that signed all these players early. They're not doing very well either. And I've got to say, if we can keep this squad together and add to it in certain places with ready-made Premier League players to add to what we've got, there's every chance we could challenge for the title next year.
Okay, good stuff. Alan, what's your half-term report say?
Well, I'm slightly different to George, as you may imagine, Steve. I predicted 9th at the start of the season. We're 11th. So we haven't got off to a great start. We've played some good football. We haven't got the results that they deserved. I would say, ask me this question in a month's time, Steve, because I do believe these 4 next games actually, are going to be massive for our season. Brighton away, like I said to the lads in the chat, we've only won twice in the last 17 meetings. Fulham beat we're home and away last season. And Tottenham, historically, we've been very poor against them, and especially in the cup competitions, as George would know in the past. So basically, ask me this question. I give it a B-, Steve. A lot of improvement. I agree with the centre-back pairing and the defence. But like a subject you touched on, the professionals last night, Steve, where defence is very old now and it'll need changing going forward next season. So I'm quietly optimistic, but I've got my heart in my mouth really, because these next 4 fixtures are going to be crucial. So I'm again sitting on the fence, Steve, because one bad result will change my mood to being very pessimistic to being very optimistic. If we beat Brighton, I'll be very optimistic. And if we beat Tottenham in the cup, I'll be even more optimistic. But I'm hoping for a cup. But whether we're finishing the top 5, Steve, it's going to be tremendously hard, because this is the thing that Villa and ourselves have got. We must keep getting in the top 4, because the richer clubs are getting richer with Champions League format. And everybody's got to be aware of that if you don't get in the top 4 and 5, you're going to be behind the ball game. And it's only because Man United have got so much turnover that they're still able to compete with us. But if they were out the Champions League for the next 4 or 5 years, they will struggle going forward massively. But overall, B-, Steve, we played some good football, but Still a lot of improvement for me, Steve. To win the league next year, Steve, asking a lot. If I would say to the lads and the people in the chat, are we now elite club? Now, to me, we've got to keep winning trophies. So if you win a trophy this season, then we'll start becoming elite club, lads and lasses out there. But I hold my judgment.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from with the back four, because I mean you're obviously referring to like Kieran Trippier and Dan Burn and Fabian Shaw, but you know the team that's playing at the moment is, you know, when fit, is Tino Livramento, Lewis Hall, Sven Botman and Malik Chow, who are all young. So I get where you're coming from. We need strength and depth. You know, when the old guard does eventually become past the sell-by date, we're going to need people to replace. But that's football. That's what good teams do. They start replacing players. But our back four at the moment potentially could be the youngest we've ever had in our history, I would have said. So, yeah, I get where you're coming from, though. Okay, Tilly keeps asking Darren questions. Darren, the camera angle's actually quite good the day you've improved. So Tilly was, of course, at Darren's last week, giving him a few tips and a bit of advice. She reckons Darren's dyeing his hair. We'll come to Darren at the end and he can put a defence in for that. She says you're dyeing it black. Anyway, hi. She said Barry told her. Hello, Barry. Barry, of course, who knows a lot about dyeing hair. What is it? What's your half-term report, Barry? Not on your hair. What's your half-time report?
Where do you start? You've followed George and Alan. It's like two completely opposite views. I mean, for me, the problem we've had this season is the lacking the Wissa striker. The defence we've improved dramatically. Yes, we've now got injuries to Hall, we've got injuries to Tino, but the guys who are coming in are still doing a job. Trips is still playing out with skin at times. Dan Burn, like George said, is doing an okay job at left back. Yes, he's not in the same class as Tino or Hall, but he's doing an okay job. The midfield is doing really well. It's that extra striker. As much as Waldemar doing unbelievable, he's fitting in well. We need one, possibly two, to be working alongside him so we can alternate. Wissa's a huge miss, and I still don't think Asula's the right player for the team. I think we need to get rid and move on to somebody on the next level up. I still don't think he's going to be the player that we need. And I think it's weird reading some of the comments in the chat talking about if we'd had Wissa fit, we would have been in the top four, top three, top four, and we might have been challenging this season. And I think we probably would have been. If we'd had a goal scorer who could have put some of the chances away that we've been missing out on, why wouldn't we? The midfield's unbelievable. The defence has played really well. I would be busting a gut in January to spend again. We need another striker and we need a younger fullback who can possibly play on both sides just to cover the players that we've got missing. I know January's a bad time to bring people in. It's not always the greatest time in the world. But I think if we can get 3 strikers on board, or Wissa and another striker, and have Waldemar as a different type of player, which I think he's definitely going to be in the future, I think we could be well up there challenging. I do agree with what Alan said, that a lot of the reserves that we've got, the people that we will class as quality squad players, are of a certain age that we need to be replacing them. But the difference to last season is those players were starters. Now they're reserves who were in that age bracket. We've managed to move on. So we're moving down the road. But God, my heart wants to say next season challenging for the title, but when we've still got people like Willock playing in the squad and playing regular games, are we really going to be challenging for the title? You need to replace players like him. And as much as I don't want to say it because it'll please Darren, I think the likes of Murphy need replacing if we're going to go for the title. I think Elanga he's been nowhere near the sort of player we expected him to be. There's very few times when he's looked like the player that he was for Forest last season. I don't know why he's not hit the ground running. I was hoping he was going to take us forward. So Murphy's another one who needs replacing. We've still got areas where we need to improve, but considering what we've had, and considering the player who shall not be named pissed off in the transfer window and left us in an absolute shithole, I think we're doing really well. Steve, you're right. We're challenging in the cup. We're still knocking there for a European place for next season. And God, I pray, like George, that we're going to win 2 trophies this season. I'll be over the moon. I'm still living on the happiness that is last season, actually winning a trophy before I pass away.
I am, Barry. I am.
Good stuff. Happy birthday to David Cook in the chat. I notice a lot of people saying
Happy
that. So happy
birthday,
birthday,
David.
David.
Happy
Good
birthday,
one.
dear.
Pablo, half-term report, please.
I'd say probably in school terms, must concentrate harder in lessons. Attendance has been good. We've shown up to every game. We've imposed ourselves on teams. We've been in certain games where, well, you know, we'll pick the Arsenal game, for instance. I mean, I know it turned out the way it did, but another 10 minutes of holding on, a little bit more concentration, thought and personnel. We could be picking things up from games like that. And they're the sort of games at the end of the year or right now that could propel us onto that good run that we need. Because right now we sit, for me, we're kind of teetering on the top of the hill. 2 wins, and we're looking at 15th and 16th in the league. 2 losses, and 2 wins, we're looking at Champions League places. So we're in that period now where it's really up to us, and it's critical where we go as a squad and a team. But the green shoots are there, you know. We've spoken about the defence. If we break the team down, I mean, it pains me to say it, but the goalkeeping position seems fairly solid at the minute. The defence certainly Chow coming into that, has been performing well. We can see, you know, the positive signs there. Midfield speaks for itself, you know, it's one of the best in the league. But it's always been the final third this year that we've struggled with, and that is born of what happened with that particular individual in the summer. It kind of threw us a curveball, and in school terms, it's like someone's robbed our pencil case before the season. So we were kind of piecing together bits, you know. For that month, it was a crazy month where we were thinking, where are these players going to come from? And all of a sudden, we've actually got 4 or 5 of the right kind of profile players that we need. So the age of defence is being addressed. You know, you've just called it out there, Steve, with them back 4 that you're talking about. So things are being addressed, but they can only be done in stages. You know, we're not fortunate enough to be able to go out and do 10 at once like Man City and Chelsea once did. So I think the plan is working. I think it will work. What I don't want to see is us not build on the momentum for last season. And like, I'll go back to the summer again, the wind was really taken out of our sails with what went on with him. And we've kind of had to do a bit of plastering up here and there, but I can see the benefit of it, and I can see the shape coming together. It's just that final third, you know, we've mentioned Alanga, you know, he isn't right for the jigsaw at the minute. Like I've said, he might be in the future, but for me, I'd be Murphy all day long. You know, that's just me. Barnes hasn't set the world alight. Nick's done well, but it's going to take time, and we're adjusting to a different kind of forward line, a different style of play. We're kind of learning again, so we're learning on the job. As regards talking about a Premier League title next year, for me, in a million years, I couldn't see how we would challenge for that. For where we are at the minute as a club, I think it's going to take 2 or 3 years of 4th place, 3rd place, 4th, 2nd, and then I think it will be a jump. I don't think there's going to be any immediate success in league form, but I certainly go with the cups. The cups have always been one of our main focuses, and that's where we need to put our endeavour and a good run in Champions League, because at the end of the day, the whole world's watching us. The whole world is watching us to see what we do in the Champions League, and that's players as well. So, yeah, no, I'm happy, mate. I'm not exactly jumping off my seat about it. There's been moments that I've been tearing my hair out, but I've also seen the good, and I've also seen the the promise that we've got. So, yeah, overall, mate, relatively happy.
Okay, good stuff. Jeff?
Well, I've never been a great believer in this history business. You know, we never win in London, etc., etc. It was true. We didn't used to win in London. And I'm not impressed with the Pirelli sticker teams. You know, you can buy as many players as you like and fill the hole up with all this expensive stuff, but they don't work well together. They don't integrate properly. And if you look at the other blogs and what have you, talk to like Alice, who does the football, they're not happy with their teams either. Everybody, you know, it's like everybody's celebrating what a wonderful team they're having. They're not. I think Voldemart's very good. He's been excellent. And generally, the quality of distribution we get from Tonali is fantastic. One aspect of his game that's really good is he switches the play. We do all the right things, and we do them very well, and we do them with purpose. There are a lot of teams that sort of do all the stuff, but they don't really know what to do next. If you know what I mean? Well, we swap the play now. What do we do? We swap it back again. Chow and Botman, fantastic. Quite aggressive defensive work. You know, the idea that you stay at the back and defend. No, we're quite aggressive in our defending. Goalkeeper has been excellent. I can't complain. I'd like to see what's his face, who we've borrowed. I'd like to see him have a couple of games, maybe in the cup. Right. And as for the overall picture, the American economy is not doing well, and people like Liverpool are dependent on sort of bizarre investments and money coming in and money laundering. God knows what they're up to. Yes, I'm not that impressed with that. Sell your house quick. Yes, ITA coming for you. We'll inform on ice. Yes, yeah. So I'm very happy with the way things are going, and I think we could well make, my prediction I think was third, and we'll win a cup, and I'll get a tattoo. I think I remember that, who it was. So well done, lads. Keep it up.
Any sign of Rex?
Rex?
You know, Rex.
Ta-da! Good evening, Rex.
Good evening.
Good evening. Tom, give us your half-term report, sir.
Well, this is what I discovered watching the Forest match. A lot of us get on a chat while we're watching the match, and in the first half we were doing really well, and Darren said, "Wow, we're doing pretty well," and then after that we went to shit. So I just want to say, if Darren continues to be negative, I believe that we're going to finish in the top half of, the championship spots. If he becomes positive, Tilly, you need to rein him in and tell him to go next.
Can I correct you? Without the Champions League game, I get no still on a match day.
Maybe it was a Champions League.
Yeah, I think it was. Get your facts right before you start going negative.
But I know right when you said something positive, we went to hell.
Good. I get no signal on the match day. Inside changes ball. I get all the messages about 2 hours later.
Yeah, it's probably against the Belgium team.
Exactly. So get your facts right. You know what I mean?
You've been watching too many world-class players, Darren. Like Tonali.
Won a World Cup.
Sorry, Tom.
Oh, it's fine. As far as how we're doing, I think that Eddie likes to play on the front foot. Intensity is our identity. And when you don't have your center forward in over the summer, if you have a squad that isn't quite complete, it's tough to press from the front. It's tough to be on the front foot. So I don't think we've played our best ball yet. I think that as this team meshes and gets together, I think it's going to do much better. With that said, George is 100% right. If you have a clean sheet, you're in every match. And our defense is fantastic. It's worrisome about our fullbacks being injured. As mentioned last week, we have 15 matches before the first of the year. That's a lot of matches to put on Trips and Dan Byrne. They're 35, 33 years old, respectively. Our midfield is terrific, but if Tonali were to get hurt, who knows? But I think I give him a solid B thus far. I think we've played really, really well. We've been in every single match. We've had a couple unlucky turns, and we haven't played our best football yet. So I think that we're going to be fine. If I were a winger, if I were Joe Linton, by the way, Joe Linton should have 6 goals already this year. If I was Joe Linton, if I was Bruno, if I was the wingers, I would love to play next to Valdemade, and he's going to just run the channels. You're going to get fed. You're going to get an open shot to goal. So I think that we have a lot of tweaking to do, but that we're going to be in a really, really good shape, not least of which is because for the first time in a couple of years, we could actually strengthen in January. So we know we have some money left over from the summer. We know that we just the Guinness and the Visa is new money coming into the club. We got the Champions League money coming into the club. So we have money to spend. And the missing link, if there is a missing link that we need, we can strengthen the squad in January. Not the best time to do it, as said, but you know what? That's going to give us the legs to get that 5th place, and I think a little bit even better than that, Steve. So I give it a solid B now, but I think we're in every match. And if you're in every match, you can win every match. And I think we just need to start scoring goals, and that's just a matter of pressing on the front foot, changing a little bit to get running the channels rather than relying solely on crossing the ball. And I think it's going to come. So I'm pretty excited. I can't wait for Saturday.
Okay, good stuff.
Well said,
Darren,
Tom. Well said.
half-term report.
Well, I'm kind of agree with what Alan said a little bit, like, to be fair, because I think we could do a lot better, to be fair. Against Liverpool, we lost that one fair and square. We couldn't complain. Arsenal were never in the game, but deserved to get beat. They're uncompetitive at all against them. And it shows you that the players they got, that's where we need to be. Realistically, we're not anywhere near there yet. It's only now Newcastle's got the players in the backroom staff. We've got a kid from Nottingham Forest in now.
Yeah.
And Teodor Downhill, he's in now. So they're in the position now where they should have been in there in the summer. So it's only now they can act right and get things right. Hope we tied Sandro down to a good contract, new contract if we want him to stay. But on the pitch side, like you say, you got Dan Burn. I keep saying he's not a left back, and he's been missing a few times this season. I was wondering when he's played. And Wissa, we're messed about Wissa too much. Getting him in start of the season, he's coming late, and then he gets in the typical Newcastle look. So we could always do a lot better what we have. Yes, we kept clean sheets, but I just think we're missing something still. If we lose Sandro, who's going to come in to replace him? That's the worrying thing. We need someone better than Murphy. And if we want to challenge for the title next season, even to win the title, we've got cat and hell chance to win the title next year, in my opinion. Pablo said it'll be 2 years if we're lucky to finish in the top 4, top 5. So we need to get new left back, new right back in, going forward, and you need another striker. But I'll give us a C. Up to now, start of the season, we could do a lot better. We need to score a lot more goals. I would like to say, I'm not gonna lie, I beat the game. I went to Bournemouth. I thought was sight at Bournemouth. We should have got beat, but they didn't. So I say Bournemouth and Arsenal. They're probably our worst 2 games to see nothing. And now we're doing 0 against Bournemouth over the 4 games. Arsenal were never in the game, realistic. There you go.
Christ almighty, Darren. I started the show full of optimism and happy. You've got us depressed up there. Dear me, let's try and...
I'm just bringing the truth. What I think. I'm not gonna lie. You know what I mean?
It was the way you delivered it, though. I mean, you went down and down and quieter and quieter. I was like, oh my God.
You know, I'm last. You put me last. You should have put me first, and then all the should have come on there. You know what I mean? If I go last, you put us last. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. Okay. I see. Well, that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. Tilly says you could bore an empty room to death. Hopefully he'll cheer us up with a prediction. You're going to Brighton this weekend, so let's get your prediction, Darren, on the game at the weekend.
Nice, Brighton. I'm hoping. I'm gonna go for if we're lucky If we're lucky,
Well, look,
a 1-0, 2-1 win. But if he plays, that Brighton's got good pacey players. So if we're lucky, I'll go for another draw if we're lucky.
A draw is a good result at Brighton. We don't travel well there, so a draw isn't a bad result, to be fair.
Yeah.
And you're driving?
Yes, so yeah, I'm setting up 4 Tottenham on.
Good lad.
Tottenham on. And then...
Good stuff. All right, good stuff. Jeff, you never used to like giving predictions, but I managed to coerce you into doing it this year. And
3-0.
3-0. Yay! That's it. Very
3-0.
good.
I have to point out that we've been very lucky. We've survived the rapture, by the way, in case anyone didn't notice. The world ended the other day, and we got away with it again.
Yep.
I've survived about 30 of these now. I'm really quite amazed. I've got through it all.
Well, thanks to Donald Trump, of course.
Yeah.
Sorted 8 wars out.
Assuming we don't initiate a new ice age or something else in the next few minutes, I think we'll win. Yeah, I think it's about time. We can't go on with this historical thing or we never win on the South Coast. That. Yeah, it's rubbish. It's statistically maybe true, but spiritually rubbish. Spiritually rubbish. Yeah.
We're going to click sometime, and I think you're right. Yeah, and
someone's going to get a good kicking off us one day. I tell you that.
Those kind of stats are there to be beaten, Jeff. I'm definitely with you there, and I've seen Newcastle do that many times when they're not expected to. So let's just hope everyone comes through unscathed from the internationals. That's the key. Pablo, Brighton away then, tough one. And what's your feelings about that game?
Very tough one, and I think, using my superior betting skills, which I never win, I'm going to go straight down the middle, a draw. So Brighton, at the minute, we're both sitting 11th and 12th, played 7. We've both won 2 each, drawn 3 and lost 2. We are level pegged pretty much on everything. And I think historically, last season, me and Darren went down to Brighton, didn't we?
Yes.
And I think we're just teams that we need to complement each other, or we don't bring the best or worst out in each other. And for me, it's just got a draw written all over it. I do agree with you, Steve. I think there's going to be, and sorry, you, Jeff, that at some point we're going to come alive. But I think that's going to be at home. I think someone's going to get a Giorgio shellacking at home. But I don't think it's going to be this weekend. And I think, like you pointed out, Steve, as well, I think a draw away at Brighton is not to be scoffed at by any stretch. And I just hope for shit Minte doesn't score. That is all I hope. But I think it'll be a hard-earned, well-fought, probably 1-1 draw.
Okay, Tom, trip to the south coast for the Tyne. Minte, of course, is down there. But it is one of those proverbial banana skins for Newcastle.
Yeah, I think we're going to be okay. I'm going for a 2-0 win, and Minte against Burn is a little bit scary, right? The pace against Burn going back. But I think that what I've been seeing from Anthony Gordon really, I think fills me with a little bit of hope that his willingness to run back to help there, and Joe Linton and him kind of switching on the last match, I thought was really good. So I think Anthony Gordon's coming to be the best Anthony Gordon, like it was 2 years ago. And I think that will mitigate the one area of the pitch that I'm concerned with. So I am very positive that we're going to keep another clean sheet. I think that they don't score. And I'm very positive that we're going to put 2 in the back of the net, because we're going to our pace against their back line is light years different. So we have our front speed with Alanga, who didn't play well last match. But I think with Alanga and with Gordon, I think they're really going to make something happen. So they're my 2 to score, and we're going to have a nice 2-0 win.
Okay, Barry, you're back in the room. Give us your prediction for this Brighton game. What are you expecting at the weekend? Oh, he's having internet problems. Alan will come to you until Barry can sort himself out.
Well, I'm praying, lads, like Pablo says and Jeff had said before, that the change of look. I'm going for a 2-1 win. And I want it because it would make a statement, because we are literally fighting, in my eyes, lads, we're fighting Chelsea and Tottenham and Man City for them places in the top 6, and we can't fall behind. And I know what Pavlo and you said, Steve, is a draw's a good result. But I think we need a statement win away from home, lads, to boost hope. So I'm going for a 2-1 win. I will be disappointed, Steve, next week if we only draw. And if we get beat, I'll be down in the dumps. But I'm going for a 2-1 win. There is a doubt about Minty playing, so as far as I believe they've been told. So that'd be good news for us. But on the other side, we've got Bruno and Joe Linton come from the other side of the world. How fresh are they going to be? So, you know, I'm praying all my might that we'll win 2-1. And like, you know, the lads have said, it's due a change in history. Like Jeff said, it's due a change. We've only won twice in the last 17 games against them. So it's going to be tough, but I'm going 2-1.
Is there any Brighton podcasts, Alan? Because I know you're one who likes to watch opposition podcasts. Is there any Brighton podcasts?
There's Adam, who's normally on basically Top the League programme. He's normally on. There is one or two that is.
How are they feeling about the start of the season that they've had then?
I think it's a mixture, Steve. I think, again, it's like us. It's exactly like Pablo said. They've won 2, drew 3, lost 2. So it's a mixture of what they've been saying about the season so far. But they're definitely like, like that Minty. They're definitely like him. He's coming on leaps and bounds and cringe, as we would say. You know, so I've been interested to see any of the podcasts before the game, how they think about on Saturday. But they're a bit mixture of us as well, Steve. Started okay and could do better. So,
all right. Okay, Barry, can you hear us?
Are you there, Barry?
I think he said 6-0.
He's
saying,
sorry, come and go up for 3 hours.
Can you hear us?
We can now,
Yes.
but you've got about a 12-second delay. So go for it, Barry. I'll let you talk. Go for it.
Give it go up for 3 hours, Barry.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for a 2-0 win. I think they're not going to have any idea how Big Nick's going to play, and I think I've got a good feeling we're going to win 2-0.
Okay, good stuff. George, we will get a prediction of you now. I know you pretty much stick to it when you give it, but I mean, Brighton away, it is the South Coast. What's your feelings, George, on this one?
Well, in terms of a prediction, it's straightforward for me. 2-0 win, and on the basis that Tom nailed it, Gordon's back to where Gordon was. I thought he was the best player on the field for England the other night. What also intrigued me was that the second half, when Tuchel played him in centre forward, Elliot Anderson turned him into a good centre forward. I hope Eddie Howe was watching, because every channel that Gordon ran, Elliot Anderson was finding him. Every channel he runs for us at centre forward, none of the midfielders find him, so he's running for nothing. So I hope that they watched that. But in any event, he looks like he's back to the Anthony Gordon we know, and him and on the other side, it'll cause Brighton havoc. And I also agree that Brighton won't know what's hit them when they see Big Nick. And I predict Big Nick will score and break a record and be scoring his first 4 games, which is better than any other striker we've had.
Tell you one thing, George, Steve, before we go, if we don't concede this Saturday, will that be the first time we haven't conceded a goal in 4 away games? I would like to know what that record is for us, because it must be some sort of record.
Find out. Yeah, could be another one.
In the Premiership, Alan, but we've done better in the Championship than in the Championship.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff's dinner's ready, so it's his servant knocking the bell. So we better call the show early. Seeing as though Barry wanted to extend it by 4 hours, we've knocked it on the head by 5 minutes. Big thank you to Pablo, Tom, Darren, Barry, Jeff, Alan, George. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Thanks to the moderator.
Good to see you, lads. Good to see you.
Take care,
Thanks Thanks to everybody who subscribed to the fanzine as well. £1,902.14 has been donated to Age UK, North Tyneside Dementia, and delighted about that. Thank you very much for everybody who has taken part in that once again. Back tomorrow, 6 o'clock, with Talk of the Tune. Until then, have a good night.
A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins. You can find them at their website, skipsandbins.com. Contact them at www.skipsandbins.com/contact. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. A big thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. You can find them at their website, mrvickys.co.uk. Email info@mrvickys.co.uk or telephone 01768 210 102. Thanks to our fanzine sponsor, United Group Travel. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. 2 crew driver and courier, local family company, 3-star plus quality hotels and no interchanges. Hot and cold snacks and drinks available on the coach, all excursions included. Their website, unitedgrouptravel.com. Email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com. Telephone 01670 632 460 or 0791 666 4174. Just £30 per person deposit. Thanks to Media Arts for all the help with the technical side of things. And if you like listening to us as a podcast, you can go to Sports Social Podcast Network or to iTunes, Spotify, or other podcast providers. If you want to support the show, then hit the subscribe button. It's free. We do 7 shows a week. Hit the little thumb up under the video, which is the like button, or click share to share to your social media. You can also join the channel on YouTube by hitting the join button for as little as $1.99 a month. If you want to become an NUFC Matters member, you can go to nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk. It's a £25 one-off fee. You get your pen, you get your badge, a key ring, you get your beer mat and your fridge magnet and your membership card, nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk for that. And we have an event early next year, 13th of February 2026, an evening with Beardsley, Waddle and Gascoigne takes place at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House. To buy your tickets for that event, go to the box office 0191 243 1171 or Tyne Theatre and Opera House.uk.
And don't forget, the Christmas event takes place on the 21st of November. Tickets are £12, an evening with Warren Barton, Joe Allen, Sid Stobart and Adam Henderson doing an acoustic set in aid of Age UK at North Tyneside Dementia. And in 2026, in January, 2 events for your diary. Supermac and Gibbo will be on at the Irish Centre on the 23rd of January and Peter Beardsley and Joe Allen on the 30th of January. Tickets for them from nufcmatters.co.uk. And our latest publication is The Promoter and the Photographer, 25 years of bringing the stars to Tyneside. The book is £10 and all proceeds from that book will be going to Age UK, North Tyneside Dementia. Tickets for the events and to purchase the book, go to nufcmatters.co.uk.